The topic for this video is chemical names and formulas. The essential questions are: how are ionic compounds named if you have the formula? So to name ionic compounds, you name the metal, which should be the positive one, which comes first. Then you name the nonmetal, and then you change the ending to the nonmetal to ide, IDE. If the metal has more than one oxidation number, which is pretty much our transition metals, then we're going to use Roman numerals, or we could use that classical naming system also. So we have Ki. I know K is potassium and I is iodine. So I'm going to change that. The potassium comes first, potassium iodide. I change the end of the nonmetal to IDE. Okay, the next one, I know that calcium is first and then nitrogen, so I have calcium nitride. Next I have Ba and Cl, so Ba is barium, Cl is chlorine, so I have barium chloride. NaH is sodium and hydrogen, so I have sodium hydride. Okay, on this next one, mercury is one of those that has more than one oxidation number. Okay, so to figure out what it is, I have to take it apart, and I can use my crossover rule backwards. So mercury is going to be a +2 because chlorine is a -1 and there's 2 chlorines there to cancel out. So I'm going to write mercury and then parentheses 2 in Roman numerals and then chloride. Or I could use the classical naming, which is mercuric chloride. Okay, so it's you need to learn these, but really if you look at this list, it's all of the stems. Hydrogen becomes hydride, fluorine becomes fluoride, chlorine becomes chloride. It just takes the stem and adds ide, okay, and it does take off some of the syllables sometimes. Instead of nitrogen or nitride, it's just nitride, okay. A little more practice. Fe2O3. Fe is iron, which is one of our transition metals that changes around with the oxidation number. So I need to do the crossover trick backwards. So I know that because there's 3 oxygens, that means Fe is +3 and O is -2, which oxygen's always -2. So then I can write iron 3 oxide, or I can write ferric oxide to use the classical naming. Okay, next I have PbO2. Pb is lead, which is another one that changes, so I'm going to do my crossover trick backwards. So I get Pb4+, because O is a 2-. So I know oxygen is always 2-, so if I have 2 of those, that means I actually have a 4- charge, and since I only have 1 Pb, that has to be a 4+ charge. So I'm going to write lead 4 oxide or plumbic oxide. Okay, AlBr3. Okay, Al only has 1 possible charge, so I don't need to worry about Roman numerals here. Just aluminum bromide. AgF. Okay, Ag is one of our transition metals, but it is one of the ones you had to memorize because there's only 1 possible charge on silver. So it's silver and fluorine, so you just write silver fluoride. CdS. Cadmium is Cd, and that was another one that only had 1 oxidation state, so you're just going to write cadmium sulfide. Okay, a little more practice. FeCl2, I'm going to do a reverse crossover here, and that gives me a 2+ charge on iron, so I have iron 2 chloride or ferrous chloride. Okay, zinc was another one we memorized because there's only 1 possible oxidation state, so I have zinc and phosphorus, so I have zinc phosphide. Na is sodium and O is oxygen, so I have sodium oxide. Co is cobalt, and that does have different charges possible. Br is bromine, so I'm going to do my reverse crossover, so that gives me a +3 on cobalt. So I got cobalt 3 bromide or cobaltic bromide. Cu is copper, and that has more than 1 possible charge. S is sulfur. So I'm going to do my reverse crossover, and since sulfur doesn't have anything, that means it's a 1, so that means copper is a +1. So I have copper 1 sulfide or cuprous sulfide. And finally I have CaSe, so that gives me calcium selenide.